Hi, everybody. Welcome to our webinar tonight on the fall visit, what to expect. This is presented for Alberta Homeschooling Association, and we'll be really quick. It won't take that long. My name is Judy Arnell, and I am a child and brain development certified person. And I'm also a homeschooler. Although after 21 years, I'm kind of done this year. So I homeschooled 5 of my children. Didn't think I would do it past grade 8 because my math ends at grade 8. Believe me, I have learned how to factor trinomials 5 times in order to teach my 5 kids, and that's it. But they went on and continued through high school. So it's been a wonderful experience, and I didn't think, for the most part, we were parent directed. So here's my 5 kids. 3 are university graduates, 1's already in university, and 1 is a master's student, and 1's just wrapping up a few things in order to go. I've written some books on discipline, non-punitive discipline, and also how to handle our patience and our stress levels, and how to help our kids handle their stress levels. And also a tip book on facilitating groups for 21 years. And also I've written a book on how we were unschoolers, and we had 25 other friends who were unschoolers, and how 30 of those kids all got to universities, colleges, technical schools by unschooling, which is self-directed learning. I've also written the Happy Homeschooling Handbook. So if you want a copy, it's 120 pages of lots of good information and supports Alberta Homeschooling Association. Okay, so Alberta is content, not so much content-based, it's more outcome-based. So it's not what you know, but what you can do with what you know. And can you mark off different outcomes? So, for example, what we call the outcomes is the Alberta Programs of Study. So, for example, in grade 1, all children in Alberta in every school, it doesn't matter if it's Francophone, public, Catholic, charter, or online, they all learn creating color in grade 1 science. And they have outcomes to meet. And they can use whatever curriculum, whatever learning aids they want to get to learn the outcome. And teachers in schools can learn or use anything they want to teach to that students will get to that outcome. So, for example, creating color. One of the outcomes is identify colors in a variety of natural and manufactured objects. So, for example, a child in a public school might look around the classroom and pick out everything that's blue. A child in an independent school might look at a painting and discover things that are blue. A child in a home ed program, if they want to follow those outcomes, get to make Play-Doh and color it blue or color red or whatever colors they want. So everybody can meet the outcomes in different ways. And once they've met the outcome, you just check it off. Now, parents on home education programs do not have to follow the Alberta Programs of Study. They can follow the 22 solo outcomes, which are these. So, and they're 22 because they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way to 22, although they're alphabetized. These are very wide outcomes. You can have a child sit and play Minecraft all day and they would meet all these outcomes. So, and now what if you want to oscillate between the two? What if October you want to do the 22 solos, but in your program plan you said that, or your notification form, you said you were going to follow this, the Alberta Programs of Study. Doesn't matter. You can do what you want. You can move back and forth. You can do this for 3 months and then move to something else. Either one is okay. You can do that. You have that right. So when you signed up for home education, you filled out a notification form with a school board, and they asked you for a home education plan. That's could be this. So you would have put in what outcomes, the 22 sole outcomes you're going to meet, what resources you were going to use, very general. For example, this, I would just put in books. You don't have to name the books or what chapters you're going to do. And then I would put a simple assessment, which could be observation, listen to child reading, notice they liked reading, whatever. Super, super simple, super easy. So you can do that. So your first visit is when your facilitator comes to your house. Most often they come to your house unless it's a public school, and then they want you to come to their office. So you have to pack your siblings and your other children and bring something for them to do to come to the office. But it's nicer if a facilitator can come to your house because they can see how your learning setup is and get to know you a bit more. What a lot of people do is they offer them, a coffee, tea, glass of water. In the case of my kids did high school food science, so they made lunch for the facilitator, and they made it all themselves. So it was kind of nice to show her what they could do. But it's just a coffee informal visit. They want to get to know you. They want to get to know your children, what your style is. Are you more an unschooler? Are you more a classical conversations type? What kind of supports do you need? What kind of resources can they help you out with? Can they help you order things? Where to order things? Those kinds of things. It's not a sit down and show me what you've done kind of thing. It's not like that at all. If it's like that, you need a new facilitator. So when I first started homeschooling, I thought, okay, I got to have all my proof that I taught my kids and they're learning. So I had to stack this high of stuff to show the facilitator. And in 21 years of facilitator visits, they did not want to see that. What they wanted to do was meet my child, have a little conversation, maybe ask my child to read something just to see where they're at. That was it. And then they'd fill out their own reports. They'll sit there with the computer or some type right on the computer. Some still prefer to just write notes on paper. And all they do is they record what you tell them. So they'll say, what are your plans for science this year? And they'll do each child one at a time. So they might start with your youngest or your oldest. It's up to you. Maybe your most extroverted child. Send them in. And you can sit there and your child can sit with you, and they would like to ask your child, what did you learn this year? What were you excited about? What was the funnest thing you did this year? And your child is going to talk to them. And then you can fill in later, okay, I think for science we did this or we did that. And you're just giving them the information verbally. They're making notes. They are not going to shuffle through all your work, your notes, your record keeping at all. I worked so hard my main form of assessment was photographs. And back in the day, we had to print them out. And so I worked hard to get them all to the print shop, get them into albums, wrote down who was there, what we did, to show the facilitator. They didn't even want to see them. They see too many families. So basically, they just write down what you tell them. Now, the big job is, how do you remember what you did? And I'll talk about that later. Now, high school is a bit different. So at this visit, if you haven't submitted course proposals in yet, you probably should. So, for example, we did English 30 under parent directed. So we had a course proposal date, a starting date, an end date, how many credits we were going to go for, and what we were going to do for the course. and what resources we needed and how we were going to assess how much the child learned. This is one page. We did one page per high school course and submitted it. That's what we did at the spring visit. Now, remember, this is only for parent-directed home education. If you were on shared responsibility, you would have a visit only for the parent portion, okay? It's just the green part. So if you're 100% parent-led, you would do all the 22 outcomes or the 1,400 outcomes in each subject if you want. And then under shared, you would just do your courses. The school, they are teaching their courses, so they don't need to meet with you to figure out what you're doing because you're not doing anything. You are just the support person, just like if your child was in school. So they would only meet with you for the parent responsible courses. And if you're 100% school, which is teacher directed, online, paper-based resource, blended, URSA, whatever it's called, you would not have a home education visit. You would have parent-teacher interviews because it's school, and they would give you a report card because they are teaching your child. They report to you what they're teaching. Okay, now your facilitator who comes will be a certified teacher who's been assigned to you for the year as your support person. Hopefully they have some background knowledge in home education. Hopefully they were a home education parent themselves. Maybe they weren't, maybe they were. Better if they were, because they could offer lots of suggestions on, you know, those boys who can't write or refuse to read or things like that. But their job is their partner in education for you. They're a support role. What help can they provide? So the learning plan, so remember the fall visit, there's no marks. You don't have to give any marks on home education. They're just trying to know what your goals are, what your methods, resources, that kind of thing. If it's shared responsibility, the difference is you would have registered your child for school. They would be making progress in textbooks or workbooks or through the learning management system. And your child's teacher will report to you how the assignments are getting done, what your child's marks are. There are marks on that portion. Okay, what else can you share? Now the spring visit is more sharing because you have, you know, a whole year of 10 months of activities that you have done. And at the spring visit at the end of the year, with the distance ed and the school portion, your child will have exams and marks, and they don't have to write the PATs, the Provincial Achievement Test. So don't worry, there's no testing on traditional ever, which is kind of nice. Now, when I sit there in the fall visit and my facilitator asked me, so what did you do for science this year? And because we were unschoolers, I would think, oh dear, I don't remember. So what I would do is I'd often keep notes. I'd take photographs if we went on a field trip, or I'd make little notes in a scribbler like this. Like we went to the science center. We went on a WestJet field trip, those kinds of things. And then I would kind of just slot them into either the 22 outcomes or the Alberta Programs of Study outcomes per subject. It's up to you. I do make notes. I just sit down once a month and record what we did so I can relay to the facilitator what we did, because half the time I can't remember. High school, I make more notes and keep samples of work. Definitely. They're going to want to see samples of work for high school. They don't really want to keep it for grades 1 to 9. They have nowhere to keep it. But for high school, when marks are reported to the government, they do need work samples to justify the marks we give. Okay, and you don't really plan for next year in the fall visit. You do that more in the spring visit. Yeah. Okay, so that's kind of homeschooling. If you're doing high school, like I said, you do a more course proposal kind of method of doing that. And we can cover more of that in the spring visit. But if you need help with course proposals, let me know. Reach out to me and I can send you samples of all our course proposals. So that would help. Okay, thank you for joining us on this very quick webinar. So the fall visit, it's really a social, get to know you, get to know your child, get to know your homeschooling learning philosophy visit. Nothing to be afraid of. Don't worry, it will go smooth. If you're feeling like you're coming away from the hour visit where you don't feel like you're in sync with your facilitator or you're feeling too judged, feel free to call up the school and ask for a switch. Say it's not a good fit. I'd like a different facilitator, maybe someone, for example, I had 2 facilitators that didn't quite approve of our unschooling. So I called up the principal and said, you know, I need somebody who's more supportive of unschooling because they are mandated to support you. It is in the home education regulations. And if you don't feel that support, you have every right to change facilitators, okay? So it should be a pleasant experience. Your children should be feeling good about it too. Okay, so if you have any more questions, feel free to email me and I can help you out. And thank you so much for joining us at Alberta Homeschooling Association. Okay, have a good visit. Bye.